Apparently it's on. Wow. Hello there everybody. Welcome to my office, such as it is. It's been a while since I've done a video. Been a while since there's been any workshop rambling. Because I haven't really been in the workshop an awful lot. Done a bit of racing this season. We're now at the end of, or at least in November 2022. If you're looking at this in the year 3000 and your great-granddaughter's mighty fine. So, what I wanted to talk to you about was wild camping. Now, during this year and since the pandemic in 2019, I've been doing a little bit of this and certainly a lot of interest in it from myself. And you know, I like the outdoors, and I grew up in the countryside, and it really gels with me, it really resonates. So tonight, it's now only 2:15 in the afternoon. Tonight, we're going wild camping. But wild camping, what does that mean? I mean, if I had to give you a definition, I'd say that wild camping is camping not on the campsite. Now, where do you go if you don't go on the campsite? Well, obviously the greater part of Britain is agricultural land and privately owned, so you need permission, I guess, if you're going to get caught, or if people are going to know. National parks, some you're allowed, some you're not. Scotland apparently is allowed, but England isn't. I don't know. You'd have to look all this sort of thing up yourself. Remember, I'm not an expert on this, or in fact on anything. So, I call wild camping somewhere, camping on ground that isn't overlooked, has no facilities, and it's a very simple sort of hobby. You've got to have some equipment, but not an awful lot. And you've got to be prepared to be a little bit stealthy. There are also campsites that are semi-wild. So you go there, there may be a toilet, there may not, but you've got permission to be there, and you have to pay. Of course, wild camping, the other primary thing about wild camping is it's free. So, this year, Marika and I, the gorgeous wife, we went camping for 3 or 4 nights on a semi-wild campsite. She's not that keen on this, but we had a great time. It was during summertime and it was really, really nice. There was a great big moon and it was just, you know, it was proper. I enjoyed it immensely. The wife did enjoy it and says we're going to go again. So anyway, back to the plot. Tonight I'm wild camping, but is it wild camping? Yes it is really, but I've got permission of the landowner. Now I'm at work, such as you can make what you will of that. I'm at work now, and the office and the workshop here is on an old farmer's yard, and it's now an engineering works, and you know, here we go. But we're surrounded by agriculture land. Now, when I took this job on, only a few months ago, 4 months ago, I went and spoke to the adjacent farmer, who's still a farmer, and he's got a little copse, only literally a couple of 100 yards from here. And I said to this guy, I said, is there any chance? And I also said, I'm the new guy over there, and if I can help you and all that. And you know, we talked about various things about agriculture. I used to work on a farm as a kid. And he said, yeah, just do what you want. Be careful, be respectful. And that's another thing with the wild camping game, is being respectful. A lot of people will tell you about leaving no trace when you go the next day. I think people of my generation, people of my age, would expect to do that anyway. You don't need to be told by a load of green teddy bears that you've got to do that anyway. So he said, be respectful. I said, yeah, and that's it. So tonight we are going to the woods, literally over there, and you know, watch the space. I will bring you back at the camp. Bye bye now. This is not coffee. So you can just see the roof of my workshop there, and there's all sorts of plant and JCBs and things around the place. And then here, this little darling, only a few hundred yards from my desk, this is the little wood I come into, and she is gorgeous. She is truly wonderful. It's mixed wood, and it's ancient. It's on all sorts of maps. I think it's much smaller than it used to be, but you know. So of course, I've got a saw with me, got a little folding saw, you know, like the survival guys do. I had to buy it, I was obsessed, so I had to buy it, so I did, and it's with me, and you just break it over your knee. This is all fallen wood, not cutting anything, it's wet, because we're approaching winter now, but it's good stuff, and there's lots of it. Because this is a mixed wood and it's not planted, it's a natural wood. Bottom of the wood is bare because it's starved of sunlight, so there's no vegetation, or very little that you can see, and all this fallen wood, and you know, nobody's going to miss it. It's not like you're stealing it. So just make up I've got a little pile going there, and I'm just going to carry on. I like a fire. I like a fire. It's, you wouldn't believe it, it's the 11th of the 11th today, and God love them all. But it's quite warm. It's 15 degrees as we speak. I don't even need this coat on, but it's on. And I probably don't need a fire. I'm not going to be cold tonight no matter what I do. But I like a fire. And so I always have a fire, it doesn't matter where we are in the year, I always have one. So excuse me, I'm going to get some more wood. Now, as a stealth camper in a wood like this, in England, you know, there's a lot of people live in England, and so you're not really very far from a house, and I can see a house from here, and it's maybe about, maybe half a mile from here as the crow flies, but there are trees between me and it. I can see it, they won't see me. But before it gets dark, if you light that fire, they'll see the smoke and they'll wonder what the hell is going on in that little tiny wood there that nobody lives beyond and all the rest of it. and so I wouldn't light it in daylight hours. They won't see the light of the fire because the fire is on the deck, and even the smallest little bit of topography is going to obscure that, so that's not a worry. Just thought I'd mention that. I don't know why. Excuse me. And that will do, because I'm only going to have the fire in for a while. You may have noticed my candle just there. I always have a candle, say you're struggling with a lighter at night in the dark. Anyway, I don't need any more wood than that because I don't need a fire at all. And if I did need wood later on, it's like being in a great big larder full of food. It's all here. Anyway, so my camp, as you can see, quite simple. This carpet here comes down. I've got some pegs in the ground on some bungees, and here's my 15-pound Amazon sleeping bag, and it's solid as a rock. It's absolutely brilliant. Maybe I just need to turn you a little bit. Try that. What do you think? Solid as a solid thing, and extremely comfortable. I just love a hammock. I came to this very late. So, as you get older, and you need to get up in the night to have a wee, look at that, isn't that great? And you need to get up during the night to have a wee. So I have another little tarp there. I put that out on the floor, but not beyond, see this tarp. This is out on pegs out here. So that won't be going on until I'm absolutely going to sleep, and it might not even go on if it's still as lovely and wonderful and warm as it is now. The original weather forecast when I decided to do this trip was that tonight would be clear, but it's very cloudy, and so my favourite thing when I go out doing these things is to be able to look at the stars, and if we have a good moon, you know, all that. Won't be able to do tonight, perhaps. But anyway, there we go. I'm going to turn you off now. I'm going to have a drink of that evil red wine, and I may bring you back later. Bye-bye now. So we're back. These chairs are great. There's lots of copies on the internet. Who knows what this make is called, but it's not the make, and I can't remember what the make is either. But they're all exactly the same, because you can't patent a chair. You know, so some Chinese company, God love the Chinese, rushes in and copies the chair, and both are on the on Amazon and the internet for a third of what the real one costs, and the real one isn't that much better. So, great chair, always have it here. What was I going to tell you? So, here we are, this is it. And people say to me, well, what do you do? This is it. No, really, this is it. So sit back, good old Sainsbury's, God love them, and honest to God, just listen for a moment. And that's all there is. And people bang on about the stress. And I used to be a right stress head. But not anymore. Not because of this, but because 20 years ago, if you just suggested this to me, I'd have laughed you out the room. And so I'm here, I'm in this wood. I mean, I'm a country boy, don't get me wrong. There are people that have to learn an awful lot more than I have to get to sort of this level of comfort in this environment. But I'd have laughed you out the room. You know, I like hotels, I like good hotels, I like good restaurants and all that. But you know what, the best thing I've ever done is this. And it's only the last couple of years I've been doing it. I've camped, I've done a lot of camping, I've got a lot of experience of camping in the military and all that. But this isn't the same. I mean, you see maybe you can't see it, but my rucksack, I've hung my rucksack up because of the bears. So I've hung my rucksack up there, and it's a 60 litre, and it's full. How can it be full? Well, it is. My sleeping bag, it's only a 3 degree, it's not a real cold sleeping bag, but it turns into a great big lump. So you need to carry all that. And my chair and things, there's the other tarpaulin. You know, I've got 2 tarpaulins with me. I've got the camera with me. You know, I've got a lot of bits with me that you can always survive without. But I love this woods. The ravens are very heavy in here. And I hear them when I'm working, and they're clattering in here and talking to each other. And of course, when I come, especially if I'm going to be talking to you, they're still here, but they're absolutely silent. So, I mean, it's strange, but I'm going to pick you up now and show you something. Don't be scared. So there's my hammock, my hammock, and like I say, 3 degree sleeping bag, not an expensive one, but very, very bulky, beautifully warm, so comfortable in this hammock. But look at this, do you know what that is? That's not somebody that's decided to make a fire and left instead. That's a raven's nest that's had its planning permission withdrawn, and there's a few of those lying here on the ground, and next spring that will be picked clean by the ravens who want to build, the young ravens that want to build a new nest. But look at this woods, it's an absolute jewel. It's tiny, you can see out of it at all sides, but you know what, they can't see me. If somebody stood on the edge of this wood, they would not see me. I stood, when I came here, to look at the spot where I put my camp up, and I couldn't see it. I couldn't find it, so absolutely secure. Oh, Lord, that's it, I'm back. Wild camping, all sorts of definitions, but you'll see people on YouTube, and they'll be cooking and they'll be doing all sorts of things. They'll be doing steaks, they'll be doing all sorts of things. Well, if I get hungry later on, which I may do, but I'm not sure that I will, I'm going to go back over to the office and have a microwave meal. How wild is that? Chin chin. And the only cooking that I'll do here is that maybe in the morning, if there's any life left in the fire, I do have in my 60 litre backpack, I do have a little solid fuel camping stove. So I may, oh there's the phone, I may have a coffee before I decamp. And I may not. And I may not even decamp. Because if I left this up for a month, it would still be here and untouched. when the farmer, who only lives about maybe no more than 3/4 of a mile away in that direction, there's another house in that direction. When he was a kid, he used to play in these woods. But apart from him, probably 30 years ago, I may be the only person that's been there. You know, because it's not on the road, a woods that's adjacent to a road, people go in, you know, rambling in a sort of a romantic sort of a way. But there are people that enter the woods, you know. But here there is not a single piece of litter in the whole place. There isn't a ring pull. There isn't anything. Nobody comes here. And the last time there, a lot of the indigenous woods, the original woods in this area, this is Nantwich in Cheshire, are really quite old. And this is quite old because of the maps that I've looked up on the internet, and there's a little block bigger than here, bigger than now, but there's always been a woods here, and it's as I say, it's mixed. There are oak trees and there are all sorts of things here. But in this area, there was a lot of action in the Civil War. A lot of stuff went on, and probably the last time there was a lot of people in any of these woods around and about here was during the Civil War. Think about that. I'm a bit of a metal detectorist, although I'm lazy, but I may bring it here one of these days. I'm going to turn you off in a minute. I can't think of anything entertaining to say. Some of you who know me, you lucky people, might know that the Bears, the sidecar racing, I haven't done a lot this year, but the bike's in bits now, and I have a new motor and hopefully have a bit more pace for the next time it's out. I'm also building a 125, a Formula 125, so if you're a sidecar racer and you're interested, give me a bell. That's it. Rock and roll, baby. So I've got my little solid fuel stove there. eBay, I think, for, I don't know, but like less than a tenner. And you know, all the survivalists, wild camping guys, you know. There's none of that. They're they're out in the woods like this, and they're cooking steaks and all sorts of things. I don't know why I'm putting this top on this bottle. They're cooking steaks and all sorts of things. I wonder why the camera's gone. Life is full of mysteries. Do you think that? Because that's what I think. All sorts of things I never really get to the bottom of. So I have coffee bags.
say I have coffee bags, you can't find them. Apart from these ones. So, my first experience with coffee bags, probably 50 years ago. And I've always liked coffee. And when I was a kid, if you asked me what coffee was, I would say Nescafe. You know, instant coffee. Then my mother and her close friend decided that we are very working class people, just remember that. Decided that they would have an adventure and buy a coffee percolator. And so they did that, and obviously they bought some ground coffee as well. You know, they weren't so wild that they were going to buy coffee beans and grind them. So they bought a bag of ground coffee, and they bought the percolator, and off they went. And they enjoyed it, and they might do that. Oh, excuse me, not every day, but they would do that. And, you know, it was a hit for them, and obviously I was a kid around the house, and so I tried it, and I liked it, and then it got forgotten, as these little adventures often do. And then, at one point or another, my mum bought these coffee bags, and she said, this is better than using the percolator because it's going to be easy, and there you go. And they weren't that great. Here, from Amazon, and they're called Moorish, I think. And if you get your nose on it, you know it's going to be right. It's absolutely going to be right. Of course, buying ground coffee these days isn't expensive. It's not really an adventure either. But these are, in this situation, very convenient. So, struggling out of the chair, that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it in there. I'm going to leave it in there for a couple of minutes. Water's not boiling, so I'm going to let it boil. Strangely, all the coffee experts will tell you that you don't boil the water, but the people that make these coffee bags say you do. So, and also I don't care, because I'll just do whatever I like, regardless of the experts and the what's the word? Lord, it's all gone. Do you know, as you get older, everything's leaving, and the words are amongst the first things, and they've definitely gone. I used to be quite well spoken as a child. I'm so blessed. Stay safe, everybody. What a wonderful night. Stay safe. Be well. I'll see you soon. Bye bye now.